To the north of the North Island of New Zealand lies the Hokianga Harbour, a vast waterway that's attracted world interest as the home of a gay aquatic creature. But long before the amazing Dolphin frequented these waters, the Hokianga had many illustrious visitors. Coupe, the intrepid Polynesian navigator, came here in his great canoe. Captain Cook passed by the entrance, but close on his heels, a French expedition under de Sevilla discovered it in 1769. Over its treacherous shallow bar sailed men famous in New Zealand history. Bishop Pompallier to establish the first Roman Catholic mission, Captain Hurd to land the first British migrants, Lieutenant MacDonnell to establish the first shipbuilding yards. Once through this dreaded barrier, men found a haven of beauty from which they were reluctant to leave. Since 1827, the bar has been a graveyard for European shipping. Mr. W. Briers, retired harbour master, can recall some of these disasters as he views the scene of 11 tragic wrecks. Yet, despite the dangers of the Hokianga Bar, men came here from the earliest days of white settlement seeking not gold, but the treasures of the primeval forest, timber, and the valuable gum of the magnificent kauri tree. The tall, straight spars landed in London in 1822 became the masts of His Majesty's ships of the line. Later came the timbermen, ruthlessly felling the 1,000-year-old giants to provide building material for pioneer homesteads of a rapidly growing colony. They cleared the hills bare and left only stumps and desolation. When the last raft of kauri logs floated down the Hokianga, the little village of Opononi became a centre for the collection of kauri gum, and later a quiet holiday resort with an abundance of good fishing. People who came to love its gently curving bays of golden sand retired here well satisfied with their lot. Opononi might have stayed quietly dreaming of a colourful past. But 2 years ago, out of the surging maelstrom that had been battered 11 fine ships to driftwood, came a gay stranger, a lone dolphin, to make the Hokianga harbour his home. At first, the Dolphin was noticed following launches. He frequently rubbed himself against their sides. The launchmen decided to improve on this and found the Dolphin greatly appreciated their efforts. Thus was made the first contact between man and a wild animal of the deep, resulting in slowly increasing bonds of trust and affection. It was found he particularly liked having his deck swabbed down, like a true gentleman of the sea. Around Christmas 1955, the Dolphin began to come close inshore among the bathers on Opononi Beach. The local people christened him Opo. As the fame of Opo's gay activities spread, crowds of curious holidaymakers invaded the district, and a local committee was quickly formed to protect Opo from the fate of another famous dolphin, Palora's Jack, who was a victim of an irresponsible attack. The unsealed country roads had to carry a vastly increasing load, and along the narrow waterfront, traffic jams were frequent, and Opononi came to know its first traffic cops in 70 years. The incredulous who came to scoff remained to wonder, or returned post-haste to fetch their wives and families, for the unbelievable could be seen from any of the hotel windows. The impossible was happening any day Opo came streaking into the bay. For out of the ruthless submarine world where fish devours fish, an 8-foot, quarter-ton wild animal was here to play with anyone who would oblige. Opo has scorned all efforts to feed him on tempting morsels of fish and flesh. His natural food is squid and cuttlefish, and he's well equipped with teeth to handle it. But his attitude towards humans is wholly friendly, and to this end, he seems prepared to suffer all sorts of indignities to be in the fun. American scientific workers rate the blue-nosed dolphin very high for intelligence. It's classed between the dog and the chimpanzee, and has a great capacity to learn and adapt itself to an unusual existence. Lofty Blomfield, retired wrestling champion of New Zealand, gives Opo his first rider for the day, and the boy gets a ride he'll tell his grandchildren about. Lofty gets a rise, but not a fall out of Opo. The Dolphin shares his friendship among individual swimmers and is a frequent companion of Mrs. Goodson, a local schoolmistress, and seems happy to give all friendly overtures some attention, especially from children his favourites. Efforts to attract him for purposes of photography may be too successful. Once roused, Opo becomes a real camera hog, and you just can't keep him in focus. There are some indignities that Opo strongly objects to. Pulling his tail is one. But he doesn't mind being tickled under the chin. Not all his young riders are keen about having fame thrust upon them, and many find him a slippery mount. But when he finds a rider to his liking, we're presented with the classic picture of a cherub on the Dolphin. Yes, it'd raise a smile on a sphinx. Gwenny has a ball. She's not very sure about lending it to Opo, but the schoolmaster thinks she'll get it back safely. And this is just how Opo taught himself water polo. He just took a ball from a child and mastered the technique in half an hour. Quite an achievement for a free-roving wild animal and one of the fastest in the sea. Don't worry, Gwenny. He'll bring it back. It's the colour of the ball that attracts him. Opo is very colour conscious. An ordinary leather ball gets no more than a sniff. Scientific opinion is that dolphins are well equipped to see below water, but above water they'd be very short-sighted. Yet, as you see, he rarely misses a shot. And if the water is deep enough to allow full use of his powerful tail, he can send the ball up 4 or 5 feet. Yes, Gwenny, he is taking it out a long way. Underwater, Opo's hearing is amazing. Launch owners on the Hokianga claim that he can hear a propeller up to 2 miles away, but it's doubtful if he can hear the applause of the crowd above water. Here is one player we know is only in the game for the game's sake. Opo will play like this for hours, and you may well wonder where he gets